Hello, 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 hello. Hey, it's your host, Matt Morgan, and you are listening to Car Musings. How's everybody doing today? I am figuring I'm going to do an episode because I'm out and about and it's been a while, and so here I am. So, hey, you are listening to Car Musings. I'm your host, Matt Morgan, and thanks for tuning in today. So, what's new in the shaking? What's new in shaking bacon? All that fun stuff. How's everybody doing? How's your integrity today? As always, most of my Well, a good portion of my episodes, I have my co-pilot rolled up in the seat beside me. That's my pooch. So yeah, welcome to say hello to her and everything else. But yeah, I'm out and about, and I started thinking to myself, what do I want to discuss today? So what I'm thinking is this. I've had somebody tell me recently that I'm opinionated and negative, and I'm thinking it's because of everything I got going on, right? And I guess that's what I want to talk about today. And I'm curious how everybody else deals with it. But before I get into that, please check out themadmorgan.com. Yes, themadmorgan.com. Also, another thing, other than the website of themadmorgan.com, I also wanted to mention that I'm thinking of shortening the span of recording dates to actual air dates of episodes. I would. The problem with that is because where I'm trying to get my financial house in order, it's a matter of trying to figure out what works, where I can, release shortly after recording. So from this date, I have a backlog of other content that, frankly, I might just shorten those dates. Probably do a Monday release, Thursday release. Maybe I'll do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday release. But I don't want to screw up those people that are actively listening on Mondays and Thursdays waiting for a new episode. So, it's tough. It's tough to say. I don't know how people feel about a Saturday release. Are people going to listen on a Saturday? Try to spread it out. Ideally, I should have did a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday, or something like that. Probably that would have been a lot better, but you know, it is what it is. I don't want to screw up the regular schedule at this point. So, I don't know. If you see at this point that there's other episodes that are appearing a lot more commonplace from older days. Because right now, actually, I'm recording this. It is what, the 26th of August? And you're not going to actually be listening to this one probably until close to the end of September. But if I shorten the dates, you'll be listening to it a lot sooner. So keep that in mind. It won't be next week, but you will be listening to it a lot sooner, just so you know. So, anyways, enough about that. Let's get into, of course, as I said, opinionated and negativity. Now, I think there's one thing that's interesting when it comes to life is that when you get older and the more experience you have, you experience a lot more, you know a lot more, you see beyond the bullshit in the world, you see things for actually what they are, you take away the sugar coating, you actually, it's like the blinders have been taken off and you see the world better. You see the world for what it really is. And you become bitter about it. You do. Unfortunately, you do, because you look beyond the bullshit. I mean, there's one thing to be optimistic, and there's one thing to be positive, and there's one thing for all that stuff. And I understand there's a place for that, but it can't just be rainbows and unicorn farts your whole friggin' life. Like, you have to come down to reality. And people are like, well, positivity, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's a friend of mine that's reached out to me recently that basically said about that. She's like, you're so opinionated, you're so negative, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, opinion is because I like to have a voice, all right? Not that I want the attention of being heard, but I like to speak up against injustices. And that's how Mad Morgan was born. Because the thing is I wanted to speak up against the stuff in the world, injustices or things that people don't know, things that people should know. I wanted to bring things to light that didn't just get shuffled into the whole fake news of the world and the bullshit bureaucracies and politics and all this crap that the powers that be want you to see. I wanted it to be hard fact, reality, truth, everything else. Boom, here it is. Take it if you like it, take it if you don't. But people aren't necessarily ready to handle the truth. Some people are just lost in their little cloud of ignorance and they like it. They like to just be convinced that the world's a perfect place and positivity will just, take care of everything. Okay, I admit there's a certain level of that makes sense, but it's not the end all magical cure that's going to solve everything. You gotta come down to reality and realize that. I mean, the world's not as bad as the media makes it out to be, but there's a lot of shit that's going on behind the scenes that we're not privy enough to see. We're not allowed to see because they want to keep us on a certain page. It's either the powers that be want to keep us uh, scared because then they look like the savior, or they basically want us to keep us in the dark. So, look what the right hand's doing, what the left hand's doing, other stuff. It's keeping you distracted. So the thing is that if you're distracted, you're not paying attention to what's really going on. But then they could say, oh, well, we did tell you what was going on. But the thing is that, I guess you didn't pay attention. Well, you didn't pay attention because you got the puppet show over here with the shinies that are trying to show me all this exciting stuff over here while you are putting on the bottom of the last page of the newspaper the actual news. See what I'm saying? So, myself, my mission has always been I want to bring stuff to the forefront. Talk about stuff people are afraid to talk about. Talk about stuff that people, are scared to talk about. Talk about this other stuff that's, frankly, in my opinion, important. But, people are just like shying away from it. Fine, shy away all you need to. Shy away if that's going to make you sleep better at night. But that doesn't give you a realistic opinion on how the world is actually being. And so, okay, take it, leave it, whatever. But, okay, so you get older, you get crusty. Grumpy old men, it's a reality. It really is. Because the thing is that we see beyond the bullshit, and that's how come we get crusty. That's how come we become grumpy old men or women. Because the thing is that we actually know what's going on because we've pulled away the rose glasses so we actually have a better idea, right? I'm not negative by nature. I'm actually positive by nature, believe it or not. It's my go-to setting. My default setting is positivity and optimism and the fact that anything is possible. You can make a reality what you want. You can make the world what you want. You could, have the life that you want. Anything is there for the taking. And I'm a very strong believer into this, even to this day. I'm a strong believer in that is true. Like I tell my daughter, you can do anything you need to in life and want to in life. Anything is achievable. It is. And I still strongly believe that. But the same thing is that I also realize that there's a lot of fucked up people in this world. And there's a lot of uncertainties and a lot of unfairness in this world. So yes, that puts me on guard and that makes me cautionary. Also because growing up in an abusive father, that makes you a little defensive. That puts your guard up against everything because you don't want to go down that road again. So, these are all factors that basically have to be kept into consideration when it comes to the makeup of somebody. As I said, I'm not negative. I am just fuming because of what life's been dealt, what cards been dealt to me, what life's been handing me. In some regards, not all the regards, because in all honesty, I am quite blessed. I'm very fortunate about how my life has went. I've been fortunate enough to have good people in my life, but I've also had the flip side of it. I've also had shitty people in my life. People that have taken what they want and basically disappeared. And that's frustrating, but it's the way it works sometimes because not everybody's pure as the driven snow, as they say. So, you just have to take the good with the bad. So, take the good with the bad. you try to stay optimistic, you try to stay positive, you try to stay on the right side of the rainbow, and you suck in those unicorn farts, and you basically call it a day. But is there a reality to it? Nah, I don't know. It only goes so far as reality can be. You still have to keep in mind that there's a lot of other factors that go into this that you have to keep in mind. So, you know, try to stay positive. Try to keep your head on straight. Try to actually keep that, bounce in your step. It's not easy, and it isn't with all the obstacles that come around, but it's possible. You just have to try extra hard to put that silver lining on everything. I know, I try to put that silver lining on everything, and it's not easy. Because it's like, oh my god, what's going on here? Why does this suck so much? Why does that suck so much? But, it is what it is. Grumpy is just a matter of not content with the way things are around you. But again, you can change everything. You just have to be able to want to change it and see it through. That's the biggest thing. Sticking to your guns, seeing it through, getting through the rough times, turning it around. And that's what I'm personally trying to do at this point in my life. I'm at the borrowing stage. It sucks. I hate accumulating debt just to live. I'm trying to find that magical solution that people have found, magical cure. And then I have, of course, this friend that says, you should be more positive and optimistic and less opinionated. Okay, and I know she means well. And I understand that she means well. And that's great. But that doesn't help the fact is that I'm still going through this shit. Now, I read an interesting article that was written by this ingenious guy recently, and basically no one's coming to rescue you. And it was really well put together and very insightful. It made you wonder. It made you think, right? It made you go, okay, that's pretty interesting. Because it is basically laying out the fact that a lot of people are self-serving, unfortunately. And they only care about the transaction of how you benefit them. How do you benefit them? It sucks. People don't just do stuff out of the kindness of their heart anymore. They're the kindness of just helping out somebody. Always transactional. And I read this and I'm like, wow, that's pretty insightful. That laid out in black and white, basically stating that unfortunately, very far and few people are going to do stuff because it's based on integrity, like doing the right thing. And it's sad because, hell, how hard is it to do the right thing? If you're struggling and you need somebody to help you out, somebody helps you out, wouldn't you pay it forward? I know I would, and I have. And I've got burned for it. And when it happens, if people get burned enough times, they stop doing it. And it's a vicious circle. Anyways, I think I've covered that in another episode. But with this episode, staying on the positive. How do you do this? Take a deep breath in the morning. Take a deep breath in the morning. Breathe it in. And just imagine that all that negativity is just exhausting or being exhausted when you breathe out. Do that a few times. Next point is this, what I recommend, other than the breathing. Pretend that there is a layer of spider webs covering your body. Not directly on your body, but just above your body. Run your hands like you are grabbing these spider webs from all over, from your head, on your body, on your arms, and you're basically grabbing them all, gathering them all, and then you're chucking them. Cover as much as your body, maybe a couple times over the same spot, especially your head and your arms, your shoulders and stuff like that, and your chest. And basically just go through that motion. Now, you don't want to do it around other people because they might think you're nuts, but try that. And at the same time, say to yourself, negative be gone. Bad thoughts be gone. And as you basically grab these spider webs imaginary, of course, but figuratively, and you're just basically chucking them to the ground. Try that. Between the breathing and that, I found it's cleansing. It basically helps cleanse you. It gets you set straight. It helps you basically get rid of all the negativity, all the bad, all the stuff that you don't want that's holding you back, and helps you get through the day. Now, you might have to do this, every couple of days or whenever you feel the need, but it does make a huge difference. I know to some people it might sound silly, but believe it or not, I have found that more times than any, it actually ends up doing a world of good. So give it a try. You might just work well for you as well. As I said, for me, it works well. Basically, I call it my cleansing to get rid of all the negative. I mean, I have a different viewpoint on it. People might think I'm nuts, but yeah, I do believe that, lives go on. I do believe that, when you're done with the physical, you go to a spiritual. I do believe that, the energies that make up our life being are basically ongoing. They don't stop. So if somebody had a grudge on you and they've passed on, they've died or whatever, they're no longer on the physical plane, chances are they've basically not let go of that hatred, that they could still be affecting you on the other side. I know people are like, "You're freaking nuts, Mad Morgan. You're freaking nuts." No, I'm not, because I know some people that have had some jealousy issues with me, and I'm pretty sure that they've made a point of trying to, make my life a living hell, even though they're no longer here, because they fucked up their own life. So they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna make sure that Mad Morgan there. Yeah, I want to make sure I get at him. I'm gonna freaking, even though I'm dead, I want to freaking reflect my negativity on him, making sure his life screws up." So you give yourself a little bit of a cleanse. You get through it. You recondition, start anew, and then go from there. Trust me, try it. It's good stuff. Now let's look at the world. Everybody wants to live off rainbows and unicorn farts. Okay, fine. Negativity, don't be toxic, don't be this, don't be that. Okay, well, fine. It sounds great in theory. Oh, we don't want toxic vibes and bad people and blah, 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 blah. You know what? In all honesty, between you and I'd rather have somebody that calls it as it is and basically has that truth to them than the people that try to sell me a bunch of bullshit fucking fairy tale. That's just me, right? I'd rather have the straight shooter, straight talking, but unfortunately there's a good portion of the world that doesn't want that. They want the manipulatable, they want the, small-minded individuals that they can basically control. So if you're unemployed, you might think that that's possibly the reason, because they can't control your thought process because you're not moldable, you're not manipulable, and that's why they don't want you if you're opinionated, because they don't want to have that situation where, you can't be pigeonholed into what they want you to be. Now, I don't want to go any further on this to be the tinfoil hat, controversy, blah, blah, blah bullshit. I don't need that stuff. But there is some truth to that. Governments want it, corporations want it, powers that be want it, and they want to be able to control everybody so they can basically be the ones that are in charge. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. It really limits the talent pool, but as soon as they figure that you figured it out, they get rid of you. I think we've all experienced that, where companies let us go for bullshit reasons. So the thing is that you just have to work through it and play the game. And that's one thing I'm still trying to figure it out. So on this, as far as the, grumpiness and negativity go, do your best to put on a smiley face. Try to get rid of the negative impulses. Try to get rid of that negativity. Try to get rid of all that stuff, and fool the masses, so to speak. You know, don't let them see you coming. Don't let them see me put a smiley face on, positive reinforcement. You know, reinforcing words. You know, say good morning. Be generous to people. Be considerate and kind to people. You know, I mean, no, you should be considerate and kind to people anyways, but you should, be that, rainbows and unicorn farts person, like, on overdrive or on crack. I think that's the best way I could put it, because unfortunately that's what the majority wants, and it's the only thing that's going to open doors for you. As much as you don't want to have to go through that painful, hello, you can't go, bud. What do you doing, you fucker? Are you stupid? Holy fuck, you're an idiot. Wow. Anyways, people that don't understand it, 3 signs that say don't turn on a red light. And he fucking turns on a red light. Anyways, yeah, you just have to make the most of it. Make the most of it and go from there. So, it is what it is. So, put on the smiley face, put on the bullshit, put on all that stuff like that, and see it through. That's all you got to do. I'm trying to do it. I know you can do it. You just have to make the best effort and make yourself sick if you have to. That's the way I look at it. You have to make yourself so sick of yourself because of the shit you have to freaking do. It makes you sick to your stomach, but it is what it is. It's the way the world wants it to be. It's the games that they want to play, and as much as you don't want to do it, as much as it, you see the whole bullshit of the whole scenario, you kind of have to, because that's the game. That's the game. Put on the smiley face, do a smiley dance. Be ignorant and dumb, and then stick your finger up your bum. It's just. But if you want to get ahead, you want to get the job, you want to get that position on the team, you can't be negative. You got to be, oh, everything is great, even though you're screwing me over. But you can't be that way, because nobody likes a negative Nancy. Nobody likes a negative Nancy. So. Anyways, try the techniques. I know, why haven't they worked for you, Mad Morgan? Well, they haven't worked for me because it's a process, right? You have to stick with it. You have to stick with it. You have to discipline yourself to stick with it. You have to do your level best to just trudge through it. I'm a survivor. That's the thing. I will get through all this stuff like that. I know I will. It's just, the way I was raised to survive, and this is just a setback. But, you really have to keep yourself in check, because as much as you hate some stupid motherfuckers that have put you in this situation, you don't want them to win by doing something that will cost you more. They've already fucked up your life enough. You don't want to give them the power to fuck up your life even more. So, keep yourself in check, keep your thoughts in line, and practice the breathing, practice the cleansing, go from there. And that's all I could say on that one. Because yes, I'm a grumpy old man. I'm angry at a lot of things in the world. I think it's stupid that humanity, that society, that we are at the place that we are. We are becoming unraveled at the seams. We are uncivilized, and it's so plain as day in your face that what the causes are. But no, we can't talk about that. We can't touch that subject because that's just offending people, and that's just wrong. The more you're crying for freedoms, the more you're crying for your self-expression, the more you're crying to, be considered something that's allowed to do because you think you should have the right to do it, doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's right at all. And you're actually causing more harm than you are good. So keep that in mind. More harm than good. Is it worth it? No, not worth it. You think it's worth it. It's not. But you're not really realizing what you're costing other parts because of your rights to self-expression, your rights to being able, your rights to be able to do certain things. So, yeah, you'll get your rights to be able to express yourself, but at the same time, the long run, anyways, that's a topic for another show. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm your host, Mad Morgan. Please keep your integrity in check. Please check out themadmorgan.com. More information on, a lot of information, helpful resources, everything else. Also, if you're feeling so inclined and help out, throw some support our way. Either tell people about the show, share the show, any donations you can make to help keep us going, because we're running out of money to be able to pay for everything out of our own pocket. So it would be really nice if we had an angel to help us out and keep us afloat. That would be awesome. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm your host, Matt Morgan. Thanks for listening to Car Musings. I got to concentrate. I got a puppy in my lap that's not happy with the weather, and I got rain coming down. So I'm going to focus on my driving, and I will see you next episode. Thanks again for listening. Love you all. Bye for now.